So let's talk about some aspects in the composite chart that make a relationship feel like this unbreakable bond. So the composite chart is the combined chart of both people. It shows a lot more about the future of the relationship, who they become as a couple, and so it shows more about whether this relationship will be solid and unbreakable or just more of a fleeting or short-term affair. So, some of the aspects that I've seen in relationships that have felt like an unbreakable bond that you cannot seem to let go no matter how much you try, and this could be positive or negative, depending on other aspects. But one of them would be a conjunction from the Sun to Saturn or Venus to Saturn, or even a square from Sun to Saturn or Venus to Saturn, although that will tend to come out more in a relationship that's more on the difficult side, or even potentially more of a toxic relationship that's both people feel like they can't be themselves, but they still cannot let it go, or maybe a relationship that's just really strongly affected you but in a more negative way and you can't let it go. With a conjunction though, it could go either way. So when we have these strong Saturn aspects coming up in the composite chart, this shows that a relationship is really, really binding. And it's actually not common to see a relationship stand the test of time without some Saturn in the composite chart. Now, in that case, though, it could be positive Saturn. I have seen really common aspect in the composite chart of couples, Moon Saturn, or Moon trine Saturn, Moon conjunct Saturn, Moon square Saturn, more difficult relationship, but still very, very binding. So these Saturn aspects have the effect of making the relationship so unbreakable in the bond. And then you have to look at the other aspects going on in the composite chart, whether this is a happy unbreakable bond or a miserable unbreakable bond. But the Saturn effect definitely has relationships feeling very strongly bonded. And with the Sun conjunct with Saturn or Venus conjunct with Saturn in the composite chart, we can really see that they blend in such a way that both persons' life goals can actually end up being more realized in the relationship rather than not. And there is this feeling of it being like a faded karmic connection, where you look back on that person and there's something soulmate-ish about it, or there's something like, Saturn has this effect of making a relationship feel profound and like timeless and meaningful. And that's something that's not often talked about in talking about Saturn. Is like, yes, Saturn is the planet of karma, but the reason for that is because Saturn is how we bring meaning to our life by truly clearing our karma and like being the best person we can be. So relationships with strong Saturn in the composite chart have that effect. The next one we have to talk about is strong Pluto aspects in the composite chart. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be the conjunction, although the conjunction is going to be the most powerful, but actually all aspects of Pluto in the composite chart are going to be profoundly felt on some level. And this ends up being the relationship that transforms you. When it's Sun Pluto aspects in the composite chart, the relationship transforms the identity of both people in a big way. When it's Moon Pluto, the emotions and inner experiences go through a total transformation. When it's Mercury, we're able to actually analyze ourselves and the relationship in a much broader context than if we were separate. So we can gain a lot of mental clarity. When it's Venus, it's like that deep love of a lifetime vibe where we transform our heart and our love nature on a huge level. Mars, we're going to transform our energy and our aggression and our assertiveness in the relationship. Mars Pluto aspects in the composite chart can show up as violence, specifically the square. I've seen it on numerous occasions. Mars square Pluto in the composite chart is that relationship that the anger seethes under the surface for a while and then eventually explodes, and it can be violent. And it doesn't have to be all the time violent, but it can appear as periodic bursts of violence. So I just like to always note that because I've seen it so many times. But no one aspect is a make or break in a composite chart. But these plutonic relationships are going to have that powerful effect of transforming you. And combined with some Saturn influences, like we talked about before, these are the relationships that you cannot stop thinking about, that you cannot let go, that truly transform you on a deep level. And whether this transformation is for good or not is going to depend on the entirety of the chart, but definitely these contacts are going to have you feeling like this is an unbreakable bond. With the conjunction and opposition, it could be harmonious and not harmonious. It could be both. With the more positive aspects, we can still see a level of intensity with the sextile and trine in the transformation. It's still not a lighthearted relationship. It still has very deep and profound effects on you, but it might have the changes in your life that come from this relationship end up being more easily accepted by you and your partner. It's like the emotions it creates are still intense, but the changes in your life end up being more harmonious. So those are the two that I'll start with in this video. It's already getting long. Saturn in the composite chart and Pluto in the composite chart. These are the relationships that feel like an unbreakable bond.